Good morning. Glad you could join us wherever you are, whenever you're watching this. So whose opinion matters to you? TV personalities, Hollywood stars, probably your parents, probably. Hopefully your spouse. If not, you might want to adjust that in 2021. Probably children. Yeah, it's important. Who do we really value as far as opinion? So let me tell you a story. Tony Campolo, very well-known author and speaker, and he's even been a counselor to presidents. But back in the day, he was actually a pastor, and he said that he really wasn't cut out for it because he was too direct. Pastors, we can be direct, but, well, I'll tell you a story. So this one time, service was over, and he's waiting at the back of the church to shake hands as they're leaving the church. And he shakes the hands with this one woman, older woman, and she wags a finger in his face and says, "Young man, you had 14 grammatical errors in your prayer today." Now, I don't know how I would react if somebody said that. I might say, well, I'll brush up on my grammar or whatever and just move along to the next person, but not Tony. Tony had to be more direct. He just looked at her and he said, "Yeah, so what? I wasn't talking to you anyway." Well, it's true. He's talking to God. So I want to talk a little bit this morning about two kings, the first two kings in the Old Testament in Israel, and what they did. And one seemed to do something that was really, really wrong, and yet the Bible actually says David, was a man after God's own heart. He actually committed adultery with one of his best friend's wife, and then he had, through military means, he basically had him murdered. He conspired to murder him. And he kind of thought he got away with it. We'll come back to him in just a moment. Then there's King Saul. And he was given very specific instructions about a battle, and they were supposed to follow through. And he was actually supposed to kill all the animals. Well, when Samuel gets there, the animals are still alive. And Saul is just like, no, I did obey. Isn't that a classic? I did when you really didn't. But I think we do that. Well, I mostly did. He said, I just saved the best animals so you could sacrifice them to the Lord our God. Just this morning, Heidi's car didn't start. And actually the alarm went off. So normally we drive separately to church. I don't ask why. But anyway, so this morning we had to come together. But you think about it, like a car that starts most of the time, that's not very good. 90% of the time. And I think we think that sometimes. Well, I'm faithful most of the time. So here's what Samuel replied to Saul, because Saul's like, well, I pretty much obeyed. He says, what is more pleasing to the Lord, your burnt offerings and sacrifices, or your obedience to his voice? Listen, obedience is better than sacrifice, and submission is better than offering the fat of rams. What's he saying? God's looking for people who just listen, that we value his opinion as opposed to everybody else's. Saul, I think, was somebody who was prone to give in to peer pressure, what the crowd said around him. But in 2021, how about we just decide that I'm not going to care as much about what other people think. I'm going to care what God thinks. That's very pleasing to him. The other thing is that it goes on from here and it says, then Saul admitted to Samuel, yes, I have sinned. So he's like, okay, you got me there. I have disobeyed your instructions and the Lord's command, for I was afraid of the people. Exactly what I was saying. And did what they demanded. But now please forgive my sin and come back with me so that I may worship the Lord. I don't think he so much wanted to worship the Lord, but he wanted again to be seen with Samuel. Hey, see Saul? He's with Samuel. He's cool with God again. There was something that was wrong about that. There's something that was very wrong about it. And that's why he no longer was king of Israel. But David, even though he sinned really badly, when he sinned, he was really sorry. Not because he got caught. Isn't that us most of the time? Well, I'm really sorry. Well, you're sorry you got caught. No, when David really saw what he had done, he was sorry to God. And he actually says in Psalm 51, against thee only have I sinned. And I could go on more about that, but he realized that he broke God's heart, that he didn't listen to God. And so my challenge for 2021 as we start off is, let's listen to the voice of God. Let's be more concerned about his opinion than we are about what it says on Facebook, or Twitter, in the media, social media, wherever. Let's be more concerned with God's opinion. God bless you. Have a great day.